Welcome back to our fifth and second to last segment of our 107th show down here at Blue Collar Sports. We appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it's through the Radio FX app, Periscope, however you're choosing to listen today. We sure appreciate it, and we hope you're having a good time. It's been a great show so far for you today. Talked lots of NBA news, give you our top 10 centers to wrap up that. We'll have our top 10 NBA players when we come back. Unfortunately, not next Tuesday, as we will be gone for spring break. So we'll not have shows Tuesday, Thursday, but normally we're every Tuesday, Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. You're listening to Blue Collar Sports. And last segment, Trevor gave you his top 10 NFL mock draft, which if you guys know anything about our radio show down here at Blue Collar Sports, we always have lots of good disagreements.
Yes.
And I'm sure we're going to have more as we get into mine, but Trevor did have a great top 10 for his mock draft 1.0.
Yeah, and before we get into yours, I could go over my top 10 I had right now. With the Cardinals, with the first pick, I had them taking Kyler Murray. Number 2 for the 49ers, I had them taking Nick Bosa. The Jets with the third pick, I got Quinnen Williams, my favorite player in the draft. Raiders at number 4, got Josh Allen. The Buccaneers at 5, Montez Sweat. The Giants, who I think could trade up with number 6, they'd get Dwayne Haskins if they stay right there. The Jaguars with number 7 pick got Jawan Taylor, the offensive lineman. The Lions at number 8 have Ed Oliver, a great fit. I like good pairing. The Bills at number 9, I had them taking Greedy Williams. And number 10 with the Broncos, I had them taking Andre Dillard.
Yeah, a lot of the similar players in mine, but definitely different orders and a couple different players. And I'll start off with my number 1, which is our first disagreement with the Arizona Cardinals. No. If I'm the Cardinals here, I'm trading this pick. I'm trying to get something out of it. And I know it's good defensive class, but I think they could get more than what the number 1 pick is worth. But I really like this number 1 guy, and I think they go edge rusher Nick Bosa from Ohio State. This guy, all year long, I wasn't too big on him because I'm very against the sitting out games when you're healthy rule, and he partook in that to quite an extent.
Okay.
But he won me over at the Combine, and he won me over with just watching videos of him. Obviously, his brother has played a good NFL career so far, but I think he's going to be even better. And so I think he should be the number 1 pick. I think he's the number 1 prospect. I think he should go number 1 to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, Nick Bosa is probably the number 1 prospect. I like his brother Joey a lot. He's been balling out, and I was about to say San Diego, but the Chargers.
I've done that a couple times.
If Nick Bosa, though, if he could be even better than Joey Bosa, I would. If I'm guaranteed that, I'm picking him number 1 because Joey Bosa is a fantastic player, and if Nick Bosa could be anything like him, that'd be fantastic. So if you're the Cardinals, you're going best player available. Nick Bosa is a guy. They just got Terrell Suggs, though. They're trying to build on defense with free agents. I think they could do that in the later rounds. So I think that's why I had the Cardinals taking Kyler Murray with the first pick and then trade Josh Rosen and get a defensive player with one of the later picks.
Yeah, Nick Bosa's, I think, the safe pick. Kyler Murray's the risky pick.
Absolutely, he's risky.
I will say, I don't think Kyler Murray should be the number 1 pick. But if they could trade Josh Rosen and get the 13th pick from Miami and get a guy that could fall like Rashawn Gary from Michigan, and you get him and Kyler, that's a very impressive move. But I don't see Rosen getting dealt for the 13th pick. Antonio Brown just went for a 3rd and 5th round pick. I know Rosen's young. He's a quarterback. It's a little bit of a different market. And he was the 10th overall pick last year. But I don't know if I see him getting a first-round draft pick out of him.
Do you think that's a big loss for Arizona if they trade him for a pick that's later than number 10?
I don't think it's a big loss because they got the number 1 pick and they're using that to replace him. So I wouldn't say it's a huge loss. I wouldn't do it. I mean, it's the only way I'd consider drafting Kyler Murray. I don't think Kyler Murray is going to be a very good NFL quarterback. That's my personal opinion. I think Josh Rosen has more potential. I think Josh Rosen could be the better quarterback.
I'd rather have Josh too.
I wouldn't do it, but if you could get Gary and Kyler Murray's what everyone expects him to be, then that's a successful draft, and that could be a draft with a young quarterback that changes a franchise. Nick Bosa's the safe pick, but he's not going to change their franchise yet. But I would give Rosen another try with a new quarterback, with a new system, and try to get a new O-line, because that O-line was rough for him last year. He was with the defensive coach. I think it's a fair or an unfair assessment to say Josh Rosen's not going to be an NFL quarterback based off last season, because he was in a tough situation. He probably wasn't ready to be a starter yet, and he was a starter in a bad place.
Yeah.
So I want to see him get a fair opportunity before I go out and take a risk on a guy like Kyler Murray.
No, I absolutely understand. Cardinals got a lot of holes they need to fill, and they're going to address that in the draft. heavily because they need players all over the field.
So I got Bosa going number 1. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers, a team that I think could also deal this pick because I think if Bosa's on the table, if Murray goes number 1, I think the Niners go with Bosa. Great fit there. They need an edge rusher. I know they just got D Ford, but they could stack it with Bosa and D Ford. And that's where it's tough for me because Bosa's off the board in mine, and they don't necessarily need a nose tackle, but I think Quinn Williams, there's a lot of potential there, and this is a young defense that I think could continue to get better. I think they're going to go Quinn Williams from Alabama, and that's my number 2 pick. I know you're big on him.
Yeah, he's my favorite prospect in this draft. I don't think he's Aaron Donald, but he is very similar in the way he plays, and if he was with 49ers, I think it's a great pick. They need a nose, but if the Jets, I have him going to number 3 with the Jets. I think that'd be another great fit for Quinnen Williams, and I think he's going to be fantastic wherever he goes.
Yeah, I'm not quite as big as him as you are. Taking nose tackles worries me early, but Aaron Donald, obviously, you see the impact he has. But number 3, perhaps my favorite pick of this draft, of my mock draft 1.0, that is the New York Jets outside linebacker Josh Allen. I'm really starting to fall for this guy. I think he's a unique talent out of Kentucky. Huge fan of how long and athletic he is. That's why one outside linebacker he could chase down guys. And we saw the impact linebackers had last year with Leighton Vander Esch, young linebackers that could cover running backs and get to the quarterback. And I think that's what Josh Allen could bring to the table. That's what the Jets need. They obviously went after offense. They got their receivers. Now they'll have Quincy Enunwa coming off injury. They'll have Jamison Crowder. They just signed. Obviously, they just got Le'Veon Bell. I think the offense is pretty complete. They need to go to the defensive side of the ball, and I think Josh Allen is a perfect fit in that system. Yeah,
the Jets absolutely got to go defense here. I had Quinnen Williams available, so they took him. But if Josh Allen's there also, they could definitely address that. I think he's a fantastic fit. I've looked up his stats. I looked up his production. I know he wasn't on the best SEC team, but he really was productive for Kentucky. I like what I saw from the Combine as well. He's very athletic, so I think Allen is going to be a very nice player, and I like that pick a lot.
Number 4 is the Oakland Raiders, and I originally thought this would be a perfect spot for Greedy Williams. They need help on their secondary. Their secondary is terrible, and he's their best secondary, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be a top 5 pick anymore.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like a week. And the Raiders have another first-round draft pick, so I think they could use that one to address their secondary. So for this pick, I think they're going to go Montez Sweat, edge rusher, from Mississippi State, which I got 4 defensive players in my top 4. I know it probably sounds like a pretty boring draft so far.
I like
it. But it's defensive heavy. I like it too. I think it's. I mean, look at the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, exactly.
But Montez Sweat got another guy that won me over at the Combine. I haven't seen a lot of Combine. I've never really had a Combine where I read into it too much. This year was different just because I didn't know these guys. I wasn't as familiar. And seeing this defensive class, that was my big takeaway when we talked about our takeaways from the Combine was these guys won me over, and I think it was dominated by those 4 guys that I just listed. Raiders take Montez Sweat.
Yeah, I looked up his production. He very well, and especially in the Combine. So I really like what I saw. He's the big riser in a lot of drafts, and I definitely think he should be a top 5 pick. I looked up his production, looked up some film, and I like what I see, and I think he'd be a very good fit on any of these teams.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. He's, I think, a big-time riser. And number 5, this is my really big first surprise.
Tampa Bay.
But that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it kind of confused me. No one's really talking about them going quarterback here, because Jameis Winston's not the guy. He is not. I've never been big on him, and last year was definitely proved that he's not the guy there. And I think a guy that reminds me like Jameis Winston, but not as out there as Jameis Winston, and I think he's actually a better prospect. I think they go Dwayne Haskins, and they go get the first quarterback of the draft at number 5. I'm genuinely surprised no one's talking about a quarterback going to Tampa Bay. Because if I was a quarterback, I mean, it's humid there. You got good grip. It's warm. You got a new coach there. You get a chance to grow. I think Dwayne Haskins makes a lot of sense. I think he goes to Tampa.
That's absolutely a big surprise here. No one's really talking about that. That's because I do believe that coaching staffs, they're investing in Jameis Winston, but once they see him on the field, I don't know if they're going to really believe that. So I do think Haskins, that's a good fit there. If they want to go a quarterback, they need a big guy who has big hands. That's not Kyler Murray, that's Dwayne Haskins. So if they want to go quarterback, I think Haskins would be the move for Tampa Bay. But I do believe they'll give Jameis one more shot, If not, the upcoming drafts I think will be much different with the quarterbacks coming out. So I'm excited for that. But Tampa Bay, no one's really talking about that, so it's the first time I kind of heard that. But I like the move if they really want to do that.
I think it would be a perfect fit, which takes me to number 6, the New York Giants, another team that needs a quarterback, another team that needs to sell tickets considering they just traded their top player in Odell Beckham Jr. They're going to go quarterback Kyler Murray here. And they say they're all in on Eli. I think that's for this season, and that's fine. Kyler I don't think is a starter yet.
They said they were all in on Odell.
Play Eli this season, get another good draft. I don't think they're going to be very good. But if Kyler turns out to be the quarterback a lot of people see him becoming, you got him and Saquon. That is a dynamic offense for a long time. So I think the Giants, if he's still on the board, go Kyler Murray here. If Haskins is off the board, I do think they like Haskins more. But I have Haskins going to Tampa the pick before. So if he's off the board, I think they'll go Kyler.
I know I have Kyler Murray going number 1, but that's because of the fit. I don't really like Kyler Murray in any of these other situations, especially in New York. It's a colder city. Their offenses, they got some weapons, not as much as without Odell now, but I think what the Giants do, they need a big quarterback like Dwayne Haskins, someone who could push the ball down the field. And I don't know if that's Kyler Murray. Murray did have a nice pro day. I did watch a little bit of that. He looked good. He did not run at all. He was in the pocket the whole time, so that was nice to see. But the Giants, I don't know if it's not Dwayne Haskins, I don't know if the Giants should go quarterback. They should wait another year.
It'll be interesting to see what the Giants do. They got a lot of say in this year's draft. Number 7, the Jaguars. I'm going to go with the same approach you went, but a different guy. I'm going to go offensive tackle Andre Dillard to the Jaguars. Like we said, they just signed Nick Foles. They got not TJ Yeldon. He was there because Leonard Fournette's always battling injuries.
Yeah.
They need an O-line that's going to protect those guys. I think they address it in this draft right here. I think they take the Colts approach and try to get back to their winning ways. I like Andre Dillard too. And out of Washington State, offensive tackle to the Jaguars.
Yeah, I like that fit a lot. They got a talented team defensively. They got some offensive weapons. If they're able to build a good offensive line, I think Nick Foles could have a couple good seasons.
It'll be. I think. I mean, you build around that. I want to see him succeed in Jacksonville.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. But number 8, the Detroit Lions. You talked about Patricia, defensive line coach, signing all these Patriots. I like linebacker Devin White.
Okay.
Inside linebacker, first inside linebacker off the board. But I like this guy a lot. He had kind of a rough combine. LSU guys kind of in general had a rough combine. But I think he's a guy that's really going to turn heads when he's out there on the field. I think he's a leader. He reminds me a lot of Darius Leonard in his length and his approach to the middle linebacker position. I think he's going to be a stud. I do like Devin White here, and Detroit makes a lot of sense with the defensive-minded coach.
Do you think with how good of a season Leonard had last year, Lane Vander Esch had last season, do you think a lot of these teams up near the top are going to really see the importance of a middle linebacker and outside linebacker too?
I think so, and then it's not. I mean, it's a great class to see the importance in because
yes.
Out of I just gave top 8. 4 of them are outside or inside linebackers. So it's or 5 of them actually, I believe, with Bosa. I mean, you count Bosa as a linebacker.
Yeah, an edge guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's 5 of them right there. So I think they're going to start to see that importance, and it's a great class to see that importance in this year's class. My number 9 pick belongs to the Buffalo Bills. And I'm going to go defensive tackle Ed Oliver here.
He's in top 10.
I like Ed Oliver, but I do think he's going to fall, and I am going to predict right now, I think he will fall outside the top 10. I can see guys like Rashawn Gary passing him up in the draft, but he's got a lot of talent. He was in talks a long time ago to be the number 1 pick, so the talent's there. I just have to see if it pans out, but I like him going 9 to Buffalo.
I like that pick a lot. I'm surprised that we both have him in our top 10. He is nowhere near that anymore. In a lot of the mock drafts, he's more closer to 20.
Yeah,
and I think if I don't know how his interviews were. I think his interviews were absolutely crucial, more than any of these players.
Right.
Because if he killed it in the interviews and they believe he's all in on football,
he'd be back in.
He gets his mind right, he's going to be the steal of the draft. He's going to be one. I think Nick Bosa could be the best pass rusher, but I think Ed Oliver could be right there with him if he's able to be all in on the team. I think Ed Oliver, I know he's been slipping, but that's why I have a team picking him in the top 10. Because I think if he's able to put that away and produce, he's going to be a phenomenal player.
He's got the talent. There's no doubt about that. Number 10 is the Denver Broncos. And originally, I liked Rashawn Gary here, but they don't need front guys. I think they need secondary guys. I'm going to go Greedy Williams, my guy here.
Okay.
Cornerback from LSU. Again, Talib was gone last year. Denver, they've lost a lot of guys in that secondary. They need to address that. They got their guy on offense. They got Flacco. Philip Lindsay had a great year as a rookie running back. I wouldn't go offense here. I would go address the defense because that's how I think Denver is built on. And you're going to be playing offenses like Patrick Mahomes. Now you have to deal with Antonio Brown twice a year within that division. So you got some big-time players. You got Phillip Rivers to play twice a year. You need a secondary that can play against those guys. And I think Greedy Williams has the confidence to do it. I like him going 10 to the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, I like that fit a lot. They've been they lost Aqib Talib the other season, so they need to replace their corner. So I like that fit a lot. I had him going number 9 to the Bills, one spot ahead of them. So the Broncos, they're in a real weird situation where they're not rebuilding. They still have talent, but they're right there. A couple big moves like this could put them back in that division.
So that is my mock draft 1.0. Again, you heard Trevor's last segment. If you're with us on Periscope or if you got a Twitter and you're listening through the app, go check it out in case you missed it. You just heard my mock draft 1.0. You heard Trevor's, the previous one. They're all on our Twitter, so definitely go check that out. We're going to have plenty more to come as well.
Absolutely. That's only 1.0. We're going to have quite a few more, and of course we're going to have our NFL Drafts show.
Oh, yeah.
We did that last season. Tons of fun. We'll go all first round. We'll go back and forth, number 1 and 2 pick. And we'll do a coin toss for that one, and we'll be drafting our top players. So can't wait for that. It's going to be a fantastic show.
Lots of great stuff to come on that, and lots of great stuff to come on our last segment as we enter a debate, and it's kind of a unique debate that you guys are going to be a part of. So make sure to tune into that. We got one more segment before we call it a day down here at Blue Collar Sports. We'll see you then.